There you go, Dylan. That's all you. Let me know when you're ready. Oh, shoot.
Wake up my soul, wake up my soul.
Hello, Facebook, and this is Dr. Brett Spradlin. We are at Divine Design Natural Health. We have a full room here. We have another room down the hall. We're filling. We're overflowed almost to capacity. We're going to have to get a new office. Just kidding. But Dr. Brett Spradlin, this is Divine Design Natural Health, and we're going to talk tonight about a certain topic that came to my attention a while ago when I had a lot of patients coming to me and saying, hey, Dr. Brett, what do I need to do to take more medications? I said, that's a great question. I'll figure it out. And then I had more people coming to me and saying, hey, Dr. Spradlin, what do I need to do if I want to go to the nursing home like 30, 40 years ahead of time? That's a good question, Mark. I'll get back to you on that. And then I had other people saying, well, hey, if I want to go to the Alzheimer's ward and be gurgling on myself and forgetting my name when I'm like 50 or 60 years old, what's a good way to do that? And I said, well, let me do some research. I'll figure it out. So I came up with a class called How to Live Sick and Die Young, and I broke it into 4 parts because it's so big. There's so many ways to live sick and die young. If your goal is to live sick and to die young, oh, I've got a list of things, top 50 things to do. But then I kind of boiled it all down, and I thought, okay, I got to make this shorter and more simple. If people really want to live sick, and if they really want to die young, I have to make it easy for them. It can't be a big, long list of things. It has to be really short. So I cooked it all down to like 4 classes with about 5 or 10 things in each one of them, but it was still too long. It was still too long. I thought people, if they're really goal-oriented, and they're really go-getters, and they really want to land in the nursing home or the funeral parlor way ahead of time, I have to make this easier for people. I have to show them how to live sick and die young as quickly as possible. Okay? So I pared it all down, and now I've got it down to about 15 or 16 things. So we're going to combine about four other hour-long classes that I had a few years ago. I kind of pared it all down, and I boiled it all down, and you guys are all here to take it all in at how to live sick and die young. And we're going to start with, we're going to start with about 15 things. Oh, somebody throw up a clock, or actually here. I'll just make sure I don't go over it. 6:20 right now. Okay, we're going to go till about 7 o'clock. Okay, and then you're free to go if you want to go. But if you like staying and listening, and if you want to hear some other questions and things that people are asking at the end, you can stay afterwards. We usually stay till about 7:30 or so, but you're free to leave after 7. We don't want to stop you from living sick and dying young if you want to get home and get started right away. So we're going to start with number 1. Number 1, how to live sick and die young. I love this one. This one works every time. Now, I will say this. I do not take people off their medications. I just get them healthy enough to the point where they don't have to take the poisonous, toxic pharmaceutical poisons. Okay? A couple things you need to understand. If you really want to live sick and die young, you have to take your meds. Who would not want to take meds in this world today that's America is 5% of the global population, but we're so good at taking drugs, we take 80% of them. We take 50% of the opioids manufactured in the world, but we're 5% of the global population. What does that tell you? It tells you that if you want to live sick and die young, America is the first place you need to go. You need a vacation in America. You need to stay, you need to work in America. Taking your meds. There's never been a drug created that ever cured a disease. You need to understand that. I've got nurses, I've got nurse practitioners, I've got respiratory therapists, I've got massage people, I've got medical people, I've got surgical assistants, surgical technicians, I've got every type of person in this practice, okay? Probably the biggest chunk of people that are in this practice are other medical professionals because they don't want to go on the drugs that they see their patients going on. That should tell you something. right? So if you really want to live sick and die young, you got to take your meds. Average American over 50, we just talked about this, is on 15 meds. And there's no such thing as research showing that this med and this med and this med, when they're all taken together, what they can do. There's research out there written by the same pharmaceutical company that developed the medication telling you that the medication's safe and effective, or else they'd never sell it, right? But then there's no such thing as any research saying that this drug, and this drug going together, the list of side effects that you hear on the TVs are only for that one drug. What if you're taking 3 or 4 others? I'll say it again. The list of side effects on the TV for the drug, that's only one, that's the drug they're advertising. What if you're taking 3 or 4 more? But what if you're above average and you're really trying to live sick and die young and say you're taking 8 or 9? You get where I'm going with this? So if you really want to live sick and die young, I do not take you off your meds. I just get you to the point where you don't need them anymore. Because I'm doing stuff like we just talked about. Where'd that folder go? I'm doing stuff that no other doctor's ever told you. How many of you in here are patients? Okay. Lift them up high. Come on. Lift them up high. Okay. Now put them down if you got no... Well, put them down. I did this to myself last time too. Shot myself in both feet. Just... Now keep your hands up and put them... keep them up if you got no results with me. Exactly. Okay? How do I know? Because we are changing everything you eat. If you don't want to change what you eat, then continue doing what you're doing, and you will continue to have what you've got. And that's the definition of what? Insanity. Who said that? That's why I pulled her off the street. That's right there. That's why I pulled her off the street. So if you continue to do what you've always done, you're always going to have what you always had, right? So if you're ready to change, you're in the right spot. If you want to continue down the road of more drugs and more surgery and more procedures and more Medicare and more Obamacare and more unnecessary things that are just making your life worse, then continue. But you will never see a person who is a successful, fulfilled, happy, productive member of society carrying a bag of these. Ever. It's impossible. Mathematically, it's an impossibility. It will not happen. At the same time, what does this one say? Just read that so I can make sure that I wrote that right. Oh, there we go. What does that mean? Well, I thought all vitamins were good for you. Well, sort of. Well, most of the vitamins, they're better than the meds. I would rather have you taking the vitamins than the meds, but really I'd rather have you playing Russian roulette than taking either one of them in some ways. I hate to say that. But the multivitamins, when we went through that folder just a second ago and I showed you that brochure of one of the companies that we use, that's whole food. Okay, in other words, it's never raised above body temperature, and they use 2 things, plants and animals, which just so happen to be from the dust of the earth that you were pulled from by your creator. Does everybody get that? It's in the book of Genesis. If you don't know that book, come to me. I have a copy. I'll give you. Okay? So you were pulled from the dust of the earth. Then the creator of these bodies, who created an almost unkillable machine, after you think about all the abuse you put it through and all the food that we put through it and all the drugs we put through it, and then somehow you're still coming out on top waking up every morning, right? The creator of your bodies pulled from the same earth that you came from 2 things, plants and animals. Wow, right? Those 2 things, plants and animals, are to heal your body. In other words, when a Native American dropped a buffalo on the open plains a couple hundred years ago before we killed all of them, the Native Americans and the buffalo, they would eat the lung and the heart and the kidney and the spleen and everything. They wouldn't let anything go to waste. Why? Because they knew that would heal certain parts of the body. How many people, I say that to people and people go, oh yeah, I saw that on Facebook where the walnut looks like the brain and the kidney bean looks like the kidney and the carrot looks like the eye. That's all true. You know, the carrots are good for the eyes and the kidney beans are good for the kidney, but think about it. Isn't the heart good for the heart? Why would they eat all that? Why would they boil the bone broth? Why would they boil the bones? Why would they make broth? Why would they do that? What's in the bones? Which is what? Part of which system of the body? How about immune? Yeah. Well, your B cells are bone marrow, T cells are thymus, but right, all of your immune system is in the bone marrow. Here's the deal. The neurological system runs the immune system, the cardiology, all that stuff runs, the nervous system runs it all. You can't sweat, cry, pee, anything without your nervous system, right? But you can't breathe, eat, live, stay alive, or go to sleep without an immune system. And what runs the immune system? The nervous system. But the immune system is a big deal. Everything in this world that is trying to kill you is going for your immune system. 90% of your gut is in your digestive system. So when we remove somebody's stomach, right, or when we resect their bowel and we take out part of their immune system, that's the dumbest thing you'll ever do, right? So you have to think about that. The animals and the plants were designed for food for you. I didn't make that up. I didn't do that. That's not my, don't come to me if you're a vegetarian and get all offended. I'm sorry. It's not, I didn't make that up. I didn't write the book, right? So all of that is hammering home the fact that your systems, your organs can only reproduce from certain things, and they can only replicate themselves from certain things. This right here is synthetic nutraceuticals created in a laboratory by whom? And once you get this, I knew Red was going to be right on the mark with that one. Created by who, Red?
The pharmaceutical company.
How can that be? Wait a minute. Why would the pharmaceutical companies make the meds and then make the multivitamin? Oh, that's why I took Centrum Silver for 35 years and still ended up with pneumonia. Right? Why would they make effective vitamins when they can, when you get a bottle of Centrum for 365 days and it costs you $8, do the math. Yeah, that's not even the price. You can't do that. You can't mail a letter every day for that. But you're going to think that the same pharmaceutical company that made the multivitamins wants you to be healthy when they make a heck of a lot more money charging your insurance company full retail for the drugs they put you on. Right? They're making money both ways. Wouldn't it be wonderful if they could train so many people on how to live sick and die young by giving them ineffective, synthetically derived, fractionated, isolated pharmaceutical chemicals, calling it a mega multivitamin, one a day, Centrum, whatever, and then making people think that they're getting their daily vitamins and minerals from something they created in a laboratory that's synthetic. The company I told you about was started by a man in 1928. It's been around about 90 years. It's the baddest company out there. How many doctors do you know that have been to the pharmaceutical company of the drugs that they're prescribing you? I've been to the farm where that stuff is made. I've seen it with my own eyes. I've got years of clinical science research watching patients get better with it. And guess what? I train with people, like I was with a guy this weekend in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, with 100 other doctors in the same room at the Park Vista in Gatlinburg, listening to a guy who's been practicing for 35 years, seeing miracles every day. Guess what? He's got more miracles in his. Guess what? I'll just go. Thank the Lord. I'll say it right now. I've got more miracles in this practice than your cardiologist has had. I'll just go ahead and say it, and I won't even take any credit for it. That's how confident, and that's how not cocky. That's how confident we are, because we get this. We get physiology. I don't give a rip about learning pharmacology. I learn physiology because I'd rather study the real thing than the counterfeit. Doesn't that make sense? So go ahead and tell your doctors that you're going to get better without the drugs. They'll look at you and they'll say, what will they say? What will they say if you tell them you're going to get better?
They'll scare you.
They'll scare you. And fear is from where?
The devil.
Absolutely. So why would you sign up for that in a system where you know that they're only going to give you drugs and surgery? And you know that the same companies that are making both of these have already been caught and implicated and convicted of fraud, malfeasance, neglect, cooking the books. They've already shown their colors. Pfizer, Merck, Bayer, you know who they are. You know they're multi-billion-dollar pharmaceutical conglomerates that don't give a rip about you. And you're going to run and buy their products and think that that's your only option? I'm here to tell you otherwise. I'm here to tell you otherwise. Okay? So take your multivitamins. You ready? Does that make sense though? Oh, and I'll just tell you, one a day. Who makes one a day? Anybody? Who makes one a day? Who makes Centrum? You've seen this word too. Have you heard of those words before? So why would they make a product for your health when they're banking on you coming for these? Right? Question? No? Okay. All right, so third thing. If you want to live sick and die young, the third thing that you absolutely must do, and you have to get started today, and there's no time to waste. We got to get started now. Because if we want you in that grave, or if we want you in that wheelchair, or we want you in that nursing home, making more money for, draining your Medicare every day, pulling up procedures and everything for you to do, we need to put you on a heart cath. We got to get you an EKG, an MRI, CAT scan, blood labs. We got to put a camera up every orifice you have. We want to get started immediately. Let's do this. You have to get started with this one right now. There's no time to waste. Oh, we got to start right now. Get in line at the local grade school. Get in line at the local high school. Don't go to the prisons because they eat really well. Don't go to there. We got to get you at the vending machines that are at the sporting events. We have to get you signed up for all of the companies that deliver the crap food to your door, right? Frozen, fractionated, isolated crap. We have to get you signed up for the companies out there that are also putting all of these together, right? We have to make sure that you're addicted to the Frito-Lay, to the Pepsi, to the fast food, to all of the companies and all of the products that are out there that advertise on TV. Because if you want to live sick and die young, your favorite pastime probably should be television. Or we'll just call it devil vision. I just like to call it devil vision. But we got to eat the processed foods. Why? Because if you eat processed foods, then that way you can experience heart disease, stroke, cancer, diabetes, hypertension, MS. You can experience all these diseases much more quickly. You can be much more efficient with your time and money. We don't want to waste time, remember. And if you eat processed foods, think about it this way. Who out there is telling us how to eat?
Television.
True, but who should be telling us how to eat?
The Bible.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but if you were a profession, in other words, what profession do you think should tell us how to eat? Maybe dentists, maybe, would be a good place. That's a good option. But maybe gastroenterologists, but all the ones I know are overweight and diabetic. I'm not lying. I'm not lying. Huh?
They know by experience.
They know it by experience, yeah. Not to say anything bad about the gastroenterologist, but I remember being a kid growing up, seeing in the newspapers, oh, we got a new doctor in town. Who's this guy? Oh, and it's an overweight gastroenterologist. Or here's a diabetes specialist who's got Cushing's disease, You know what I mean? It's like, really? I remember being a kid looking at this and going, something ain't right. This isn't right. How's this happen? Who should be telling us how to eat? Maybe the nutritionists, but we've already determined that the medical schools and the multivitamin companies that advertise on TV, they already own the medical schools. So the nutritionists and the registered dietitians, for the most part, I won't say across the board because I know there are people in here. You know people who are nutritionists and, licensed dietitians and registered dietitians and all this stuff, licensed nutritionists. So for the most part, are they learning whole food nutrition that's been ancient, or are they learning cooked down, synthetic, nutraceutical, fractionated, isolated multivitamin nutrition from the pharmaceutical companies who publish the textbooks that they have in the schools that the nutritionists and the registered dietitians go to? Which one are they doing? They're doing the pharmaceutical nutrition, which says you got to do mega doses of vitamin A, mega doses of vitamin E, mega doses of vitamin C, all this stuff. You got to get your selenium, take your zinc, take your magnesium. All those things are okay. All those things are better than the meds, but are they natural? Nope. No, not at all. So you have to eat your processed foods, pay attention to the TV, listen to the nutritionists or the dietitians, because here's what I see. When you go to the hospital, The nutritionists and the dietitians are telling the diabetics what to eat. But what are the diabetics eating?
Jello.
Jello. What else are they eating? Bread. What else are they eating? Yogurt. Yoplait. Yoplait. Huh? Popsicles. Okay, yeah. So all you guys, I'm not making this up. You've been there. You've been to the hospital. You've seen the diabetic patients. You've seen the people with cancer. They're feeding them cake. They're feeding them Ensure, right? Which is sugar and multivitamins. Liquid, right? No digestive stuff there at all. I mean, we're just talking. That's a medicine. It's a liquid medicine. So if you're eating processed foods, you'll be that much more quickly in the grave. Processed food. Think of it this way. Oscar Mayer, if it comes in a bag, if it comes in a box, if it's microwavable, all this stuff, in order for it to go on a shelf, it had to have the life sucked out of it. That's why it's processed. It had to have the living nutrients and the dense enzymes, minerals, and vitamins that God put in it sucked out of it so it wouldn't rot before you buy it. That's why it's called processed food. That's what that means. Processed meat, same thing, right? So does everybody get that? If you want to live sick and die young, eat your processed foods. Yes, ma'am.
Can I ask one question?
Yeah.
I just bought a plastic frozen bag of 100% zucchini, but it's like made into spaghetti, you know? It's
Yeah.
just like, and is that safe, or is that also what you're talking about? The life was sucked out of
I don't know.
the plastic bag?
To be honest, I don't know. I'd have to look at it and see. I mean, was it made by, what company was it? I have no idea.
Frozen food company, I don't know.
I'd say this. The best thing is fresh. Then the next step up is frozen, if you're going to do anything. And then if you have to, if you're in a zombie apocalypse and you have to eat canned food, okay, fine. But the best thing is fresh. So the company and the processing and what they did to it, I don't know. But if it was just straight up processed, like put through a thing, what do you call that? Thank you. Yes. and then if it was put in plastic bags and frozen, that's one thing. I don't know. You'd have to just look at the ingredients and just see what it says.
Ingredients said 100% zucchini.
Sounds okay. You have to trust somebody at some point, you know. But my thing would be just go. I guarantee you it'd be cheaper to buy a zucchini and do it yourself. The processing, you get paid for the processing. So it'd probably be better to do that, but I understand. Some people have jobs and families and responsibilities, and they can't just buy everything organic, free-range, grass-fed, homeschooled every time that they go out. I get it. So to answer your question, is it good and bad? Yes and no. There's a good and a bad to it, but you're making the right choices, and I commend you for that, for at least trying to get better. Absolutely. Okay, next, number 4. Ready? This is so fun. Aren't you guys just dying to know what the next one is? Remove necessary organs. If you want to die immediately, get as many organs as you have ripped out immediately. Why are you all laughing? I don't understand. Everybody's laughing at me. You have to remove as many organs as possible. What we'll do is when you're a kid, the second you get a sore throat, we'll take out your what? Lymph nodes, right? So the first defense to your immune system, to your body, the first line of defense, your immune system's first line of defense, your tonsils, your lymph nodes, your adenoids, right?
Right.
Well, everything you breathe and everything you eat and everything you drink, let's just say this, everything that goes into your body goes past there. So if they get inflamed, and we call it tonsillitis, we'll just remove them. That makes sense, doesn't it? We'll just rip them right out. Perfect. Let's do it. Okay, so then you get older, and you think, okay, well, I've got a little bit of pain right here, run into the doctor. What are they going to take out? Correct. Only problem with that is, why would that be? Why would that be a problem? Because if you believe medicine, then we're all just cosmic sludge that got hit by lightning in a mud puddle 4.6 billion years ago, and we're all accidental. And we've got organs that are vestigial that were left over from our amphibian stage. You're laughing. This is what's taught in the textbooks, people. Your system is based on evolution. It's based on atheism. You know this, right? This is what your medical doctors are taught. How do I know? Because I was taught the same thing in the same books, in the same classes, by the same people. Some of my teachers were medical doctors. I'm not lying. This was taught to me in grade school. I didn't even have to go to medical school or chiropractic college or grad school to learn any of this garbage. It's taught in your high schools, it's taught in your grade schools, and it's taught in your Christian colleges. It's taught in some homeschool curriculum probably teaches it. Evolution. Yeah, you heard me say it. It's a bunch of crap. Yeah, Facebook. Thank you. Send me all the hate mail you got on that one. We'll go round and round. Round and round, boy, turn me. So, all of this is vestigial leftover crap from evolution, so you don't need it anymore. Your gallbladder, you don't need it. Only problem with that is, what does your gallbladder do? Bile. Helps digest fat, works with the liver. Right. So if you don't have a gallbladder anymore, your ability to digest fat goes up or down? Down. Your ability to digest fat goes down, guess what happens? You are now susceptible way more to things that require fat. Like your brain. You're more susceptible to having brain problems. You're more susceptible to having heart problems. You're more susceptible to having muscle problems, muscle aches and pains. So you're more susceptible to stroke, cancer, hypertension, diabetes. You're more susceptible to all these diseases if you get your gallbladder removed. Did you know that? Are they going to tell you that? No, not at all. Are they going to at least put you on bile salts or enzymes that will help you digest fat? Maybe. I've heard of it once or twice, where somebody had the foresight, after they ripped out the organ that probably wasn't even the problem to begin with. They had gallstones, or they had, which is a nutritional deficiency, by the way, right? So they took them out, but then, maybe once or twice I heard somebody, the doctor said, yeah, you got to take bile salts, you got to take enzymes to help break down fat. But 99% of the time, they don't tell you, right? Okay, so we did that. You're 25, you got your gallbladder taken out. You were 12 when you got your tonsils taken out. Now, we're going to take out your appendix because that got a little inflamed. Never mind, we don't know what it's used for. That's what the doctors in the textbooks say. They don't know what the appendix is for. That's a spare part. I'm not kidding. I wish I was making this up. It's a spare part. You're going to go to a dude that says something God put in you is a spare part, and then you're going to sit there and let him rip it out of you. You're out of your mind. You're nuts. What's it do? Well, we've discovered, what is it now? 40, 50, 60 years after we've been ripping them out, the scientists woke up one day and they said, holy cow, we know what it is. It's lymphatic tissue. What does that mean? Your immune system and your lymph, your body, and it stores bacteria to help you break stuff down. So if we rip that out, guess what? You think your constipation and diarrhea are going to go up or down? You think your irritable bowel syndrome, Crohn's, celiac disease, all this stuff, you think that's going to go up or down? Your ability, your incidence of all these diseases is going to go way up because now you're missing the organ. Well, what about, okay, so now you're 35, now you're 40, maybe you're a female, you're looking to have kids or whatever. What are they going to go for? Huh? Correct. Which is what organs? Ovaries and uterus. Why would they do that? What did people do for 6,000 years? Before hysterectomies, what did people do? They ate animals and plants is what they did. Think about it, people. This is not my opinion. This is not me making stuff up. Think about it. What did people do? Before they were on hormone replacement therapy for 20 years, after they were on birth control pills for 20 years, and their thyroid's getting pumped out, right? And then they're ripping out their gallbladder, appendix, tonsils, uterus, ovaries. That's just 5. I've got people in this practice missing 7 organs. How does that work? When I said the body was unkillable, think about that. It's almost unkillable. How can your body, try going on an airplane and removing the altimeter, the right engine, the cockpit door. Imagine taking some of this vital stuff. How long would that plane stay in the air? You might not even get off the ground. But how does the human body do it? Because God created it so that it's triple wired, 40,000 different ways, so that you can still live and breathe and move and have your being. Isn't that nuts? But we're missing wisdom teeth. We're missing what else? We're missing thyroids. What are other organs that you've heard? Lungs. We're missing lobes of the liver and the lung. We're missing a lung. We're missing kidneys. What else? Kidneys. What else? The what? Oh, the bowel. Oh, we get resected bowels. Yes. Oh, we'll take out your ascending bowel and we'll tie it around your esophagus and loop it back in through your stomach and put a lung on there to hold it down. This is the stuff. I'm not kidding. This is what they do. I wish I could make this up. I'm not making this up, though. But I'm still waiting to see how many organs we can remove before you just flat out die. Isn't it crazy? So, remove your necessary organs. Any questions on that? I think I made that pretty clear, didn't I? Next one. All right. This, you have to do this one, you guys. Everybody has to do this. Immediately. Go home. Some people want to argue about this one. Some people don't want to believe it. Some people have a hard time with it. Ask your dentists. If they're honest with you, they'll tell you the truth. If they're not and they don't know any better, you got to look this one up on your own. Drink fluoridated water. That looks different. Did I spell that wrong? There, right? It just looks different. Did I do that right? Fluoridated. Fluoridated. Did I? Yeah. It just looked weird. I don't know why.
For those of us who can't spell, it doesn't matter.
Right, right.
I was good.
Yeah, you were fine. You were fine. Yeah, but it just looked weird. You ever do that where you write something and it just looks weird? Drink fluoridated water. So here's the deal. So fluoride was put into the water system back in Grand Rapids, Michigan. How do I know? That's where I'm from. Kalamazoo, Grand Rapids. So it was the first city in the continental United States that put fluoride in the water. 1953. Right after World War II, which the first person who put fluoride in the water was Adolf Hitler. So we looked at World War II when he took over Europe and he made all the Jews drink the fluoridated water to keep them docile and to keep them from reproducing. It's in the history books. Some of them, not the ones in school, but the other ones. So Hitler did it, and then other countries. There's only about 7 countries in the world that fluoridate their water. You know what the number one is? You're living in it right now. So if you want to live sick and die young, that's why I said you got to take a flight. You got to get Facebook. You got to come to America. If you want to live sick and die young, I've got a great, great vacation rental property for you, and it's right here. So you got to drink the fluoridated water. But I thought fluoride was good for my... Where'd you learn that? Television, school. But you know what? After years of looking through physiology textbooks, after years of studying genetics and biology and biochemistry and organic chemistry, I have a biomedical science degree. I have a chemistry major. I have a chemistry minor. I have I don't know. I have a lot of, I've been in school for a long time. But you know what I realized? I never saw one chemical reaction in the human body that ever called for one molecule of fluoride. Ever. Ever. Think about it, you biology teachers out there. Look back at DNA, look back at chemistry, look back at H2O and carbohydrates, C6H12O6, look at it, and tell me where you find one molecule of fluoride. In bones, in teeth, show me. They're putting fluoridated water on the shelves at your grocery stores for newborns. But let me ask you this. Do newborns have teeth?
No.
They think you're that stupid. They think you're that stupid. Right? What is fluoride for? Fluoride is a potent neurological toxin, right? And I've stood before the city council of this town with a couple other people, a pastor named Mike Shreve, and another couple people, Dave, why am I blanking on Dave's name from Abundant Living? Yes, thank you. Yes, Dave Carringer. Great people. We went before the, well, not the city council, I should say, the board of Cleveland Utilities and the mayor, and we had a little meeting, and we said, hey, we want to possibly get fluoride taken out of the water here because we know what's up. And there's a lot of cities out there that are doing this. It's a neurological toxin. There's no reason for it to be there. We buy it from China, and we put it in the water. The bags that they dump into the water system have skull and crossbones. I mean, it's that simple, you guys. It's easy. You just look it up. It's out there. There's documentaries on it. There's people out there, activists. The Fluoride Action Network, if you don't believe me, just go online, fluorideactionnetwork.org. Just go check that out. There's documentaries. I have documentaries here all about it. And And it's if you really look at it and you say, okay, I've studied biology half my life. I've never seen fluoride required by any process in the human body. You just look at it and you go, okay, it's in the toothpastes. It's in the mouthwash. It's in the tap water. So why is everybody sick? Well, if you want to live sick and die young, this is something you have to do. When we get people off fluoridated water, they instantly come out of a haze. It's in your water, people. Well, I have well water. I'm good. No, you're not. Because your farmer's pumping pesticides into his ground, and guess where the water table is? Guess what? You're drinking that crap too. So you have to filter it. You have to. You have to filter. And a Brita does not count. Somebody had a question. You had a question.
I was just going to make a statement on the back of fluorinated toothpaste. There's warnings.
Oh, yeah.
Crossbones,
Yes.
if ingested,
Right.
call poison control immediately.
Correct. I'll repeat that for everybody to hear because I don't know if you can hear. Lisa brought up a great point. On the back of your toothpaste, that's fluoridated toothpaste, that says if you ingest this, which nobody's going to ingest toothpaste. You can laugh at that. That was a joke. Huh? Oh yeah, yeah. You swallow it. So what if you're ingesting just a little bit of it every day? Well, think about it. Call Poison Control Center immediately. Why is it in your toothpaste? And if it's good for your teeth, why should you be drinking it in your tap water? That's another big one. If it's good for your teeth, why are you swallowing it? Why wouldn't you just rinse and spit it out? Think about it. I remember homeroom. They'd come around with the little pink cups. In grade school, I was in 5th grade, 6th grade, 7th grade. Those little pink cups, and we'd swish it around, and we'd think, oh, well, this is great. Did I still get cavities? I went to the fluoride lady, and I said, I want my money back. I had a mouthful of cavities. It doesn't stop cavities. Look at other countries where they don't have fluoride, and look at America that has all the fluoride in the world, and tell me who's got better dental health. I've looked into this, folks. You're not gonna beat me on this one. Come on now. So, drink fluoridated water. Yes. Somebody had a question. Yes.
We got our big Berkey.
Oh yeah.
2 months ago.
Oh yeah.
$120.
Big Berkey, $220. Yep, absolutely. Yeah, and that's a gravity-fed unit. Yeah, and you can do other units. There's whole house systems out there that'll take out the fluoride, the two big things that you have to take out: the fluoride and the chlorine. That's pumped into the water supply, any municipal water supply, pretty much in the continental United States, is fluoridated and chlorinated. That's an antibiotic, chlorine, right? Why do we put it in pools? To kill the bacteria. Why do we put it in your water?
To stop disease spread.
Really?
Kill the bacteria.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to kill the bacteria, but when you put it in your gut, is it going to kill the bacteria in your gut? Kills you. Right. So you have to filter your water.
That's what I was wanting, the chlorine.
Yeah. You got to filter your water. So what Mark's saying,
You don't have to do your own filtering because
yeah.
there have epidemics of problems without chlorine water, right? Foreign countries.
I'd have to read about that.
Well, they do. They've had them.
No, here's what they have an epidemic with. Here, you want to know what they have an epidemic with? Crappy immune systems. That's what they have an epidemic with. It has nothing to do with not having an antibiotic in your water. Amen? It has nothing to do with not putting a toxic antibiotic in your water. It has everything to do with your immune system not being up here. Does that make sense? Stop thinking that antibiotics are saving your life. What we're doing right now is we're creating superbugs of decades of overprescriptions of antibiotics to your grandkids. So that by the time they're in their teenage years, no antibiotic works. Then what are you going to do? We're talking about living in a post-antibiotic era where antibiotics no longer work. That's what the medical community is talking about right now, folks. So what happens? That's the research coming out. It has nothing to do with other countries not having chlorine in their water. Well, then we got to put fluoride in there too. Because then their bones, they're not going to, then we got to pump them full of vaccine. Well, wait a minute, we are doing that. Maybe that's why, I'd like to see what countries. I'm betting Africa. Might be the countries in Africa are probably some of the big ones, right? We're pumping vaccines in every African country we can get our hands on, but France won't allow it. Now, why would that be? Think about that. So drink fluoridated water. Number 6. If you really want to get ahead of the program, here's what you ought to do. Consume artificial sweeteners. Oh, geez, I really screwed that up, didn't I? Consume artificial sweeteners. Like what?
Aspartame.
Aspartame. What do you mean? NutraSweet. Well, yeah, but they came out and said NutraSweet was good for you back in the 80s. Splenda. What's wrong with that? We'll get there in a minute. Artificial. I'm talking artificial sweeteners. Artificial sweeteners. Well, Splenda and Sweet and Low, NutraSweet, aspartame. Well, they told you years ago that those were safe. They told you years ago that chlorine in your water was safe. They told you years ago fluoride in your water was safe. What do we know now about these? You guys all knew them. You guys all knew it already, right? So you know the aspartame and the NutraSweet and the Splenda and the Sweet and Low and the Equal are all toxic neurological poisons, right? You already knew that. You already knew that, right? Stevia is not an artificial sweetener. That's why I said we'll talk about stevia in a minute. Let's talk about artificial sweeteners for a minute. Artificial sweeteners. What purpose do artificial sweeteners serve? Anybody?
Sweetening without calories.
Well, so we talked about artificial and natural here. 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 We talked about artificial. They put it right in the name. Think about it. It's right in the name. So what do I mean by this? That's a big word for Diet Coke. That's a big word for Diet Mountain Dew. Anything that says diet, I'm going to spell it out for you. Diet, anything that says, I get to answer that. I'm just kidding. I forgot about the phone rule. I forgot to mention. Anybody with phone rings in my class, I get to answer it. No, artificial sweetener. So I should just say anything that says diet, low sugar, or no sugar. Does that make sense? If it is low sugar or no sugar, they had to artificially sweeten it. So if it says it right on the package, artificial sweeteners, what else is there? Well, some of your toothpaste and your mouthwashes are artificial. Some of your breath mints, some of your gum, that Eclipse gum you love with the titanium package of the blister wrap with the heavy metals in the cellophane thing that you pump into your mouth every day and you chew on artificial sweeteners all day because your breath is, you want your breath to be fresh. Well, your breath will be fresh in the Alzheimer's ward. That'll be great. That'll be great. Keep doing that. So the artificial sweeteners, you will not lose weight. Let's just say this. The Diet Coke is not Diet Coke. It's Diet Coke. Take the T off of it. Artificial sweetener. So to answer your question, stevia. Stevia is not an artificial sweetener. Stevia, my question for people who ask about stevia is, why do you feel like everything you eat has to be sweet? Let's break your sugar addiction, and you don't have to worry about stevia. Right? Stevia is an herb. It's an herb. So it depends on some people. Some people it's good for them. Some people it's bad for them. If they're a diabetic, I'd say it might be all right. It's a little bit better. But if they're working on really wanting to change their diet, I'd rather have them on stevia than metformin. But at the same time, you have to ask yourself the question, when approached with the idea of no artificial sweeteners, why must I latch on to the boat of molasses or honey, or it's just whatever it is. It might be honey, it might be stevia, it might be stevia. The only thing about stevia is the tribes in South America, I believe it was, where it was discovered, used it as a form of birth control. So if you don't want to have kids, okay, but it's sweet. It's an herb, so it's crushed up. So the thing that you have to understand is every drug is patterned off of an herb. Herbs are very potent. See, food, that's why we use standard process, plants and animals. How many reactions do I have with plants and animals? How many bad reactions? Impossible. Zero. How many drug reactions are there with metformin? How many drug reactions do the ambulances in Cleveland and Bradley County respond to on a daily basis? Daily drug reactions from a doctor changing a drug and somebody taking or changing a prescription or a dosage? Daily. That's what the reds and blues are. Half the time responding to car accidents, they're responding to drug. What's the word I'm looking for? Drug reactions. Adverse reactions. That's what it was. So you have to look at this and go, okay, if I can't mess anything up with food, what are your chances of getting better? They go way up. I can use herbs too. That's another thing we use. We use herbs, homeopathics, botanicals, herbal homeopathic botanicals. We use everything. We use stem cells. We use everything. Everything here that we use, okay? One thing we do not allow people to use is artificial sweeteners. In other words, if you say, I will not stop the Diet Coke, I say, next office. No, I can't. I can't help you. You know, we're willing to help you get to the point where you don't want the Diet Coke anymore. But if you absolutely refuse, or you say you're full of crap, I don't believe artificial sweeteners, fluoridated water, I don't believe any of this stuff, you're in the wrong office. I'm not going to argue with you. I know my stuff. Guess what? And you're here for a reason. So artificial sweeteners, we just don't even allow them to use them. If the people come in chewing gum, I say, hey, what kind of gum is that? And they'll pull it out. And say, great, give me the rest of that. And they'll throw it in the trash. They're not allowed. They're just simply not tolerated, not allowed. Why? Because you're poisoning your nervous system. And what is how important is the nervous system? First and last, right? Runs everything. And if you're poisoning it, how effective is my treatment going to be? I won't tolerate it. Can't do it. No artificial sweeteners. Okay, next. Oh, this one. Oh, you want to start a war? How many of you want to start a war? Oh, nobody's with me. You with me, Jess? Me and Mark. Okay, me and Mark. You ready? I'm ready. Okay, so if you really want to live sick and die young, oh, yeah. Oh, we're not going to talk about this one, are we? Oh, you know how I feel about that. Ooh, I don't know. You sure you want to say that, you baby killer? I'm not kidding. This is what you hear. It's what you hear. How many of you know that? Yeah, absolutely. So, let me get this straight. God created this beautiful, perfect little baby. This beautiful, perfect little baby appears in the world. And it's just not perfect enough. So we're going to take some antibiotics. We're going to take a vitamin K shot. We're going to feed it nursery water. Okay? We'll hold off on this one for a little while. We'll give it a couple years. Then we're going to feed it Gerber. Then we'll hold off on this one for a few years. But we could go ahead and put some artificial sweeteners in the Gerber. But the minute that kid pops out, we rub antibiotics in its eyes, and then we stick its blood completely chock full of, well, then we got the vitamin K shot. Don't forget about that. The minute this kid's born. Then we're going to pump his blood full of toxic, heavy metals, chemicals, dead bacteria, virus, fungus, parasite, and other microorganisms, right? We're going to inject this past his digestive system directly into the blood of this infant, right? We've got preservatives, other chemicals that we know are cancer-causing carcinogenic agents to the human genome, as well as causing cancer and destruction in animal models in research. Oh, yeah. And you know what all the kids are allergic to now? All that crap's in the vaccines, too. The peanuts, the wheat, the milk, the dairy, the corn, the soy. Huh? Huh? Oh, and the egg. Now, why would that be? Well, because all of the stuff that we put the proteins to in the vaccines, do you think that's coming from free-range, grass-fed, hippy-dippy, homeschooled eggs and beef and meat and dairy? Or do you think it's coming from genetically modified, antibiotic-laden, hormone-ingesting critters like the chickens and the cattle? It's not coming from the fresh, hippy-dippy, homeschooled variety now, is it? So all of the allergies that kids are experiencing now, it just so happens to be that all of those proteins are contained, all of the ways that the kids are reacting to, that's all contained in the vaccines. The two things that those lists have in common, they're in the vaccines. So when we bypass the digestive system of your grandkids and we pump it directly into the blood, do you think that the body's going to mount an immune response to what's in the blood since it was never digested? Hypodermic needles are brand new, aren't they? Only been around, I don't know, 100 years, maybe. Brand new. Brand new. Conventional, traditional medicine? No, that's a new age sorcery. That's what that is. Let's just call it what it is, right? So we're bypassing digestion for the first time in human history, bypassing digestion and putting it directly into your blood and then wondering why all the kids have allergies, eczema, asthma, edema, neurodegenerative problems. Where's all the autism coming from? Where's all the autism coming from? Let's build schools. Let's for more sick kids. Let's feed them more processed crap. Let's give them nursery water. Let's give them vitamins, right? Get your vaccinations. If you want to live sick and die young, honey, go down and get your free flu shot down at Rite Aid, and the government will pay you. You get 30% off your groceries at Target. Go get your flu shot. Live sick and die young. I promise you, because here's another deal. How many chemicals are in that one vaccine? God knows. But you can go to the manufacturer's website and you can look up what's in it. And you tell me if you want that in your blood. Then you go get another vaccine. Then you take your meds. Then you take your multivitamins. So now we've got hundreds of chemicals from one vaccine interspersing with hundreds of chemicals of another vaccine. And guess what? We don't know where the Parkinson's disease is coming from. We don't know where the Alzheimer's is coming from. We've got the purple ribbon thing now for Alzheimer's, like we had the pink ribbon thing for breast cancer, right? But we don't know where the autism's coming from. We have no idea where the allergies and asthma is coming from. But when your kids have allergies, where do we go? To the allergy center to give them what? A shot, which is what caused the thing in the first place. Get your vaccinations. I teach whole classes on this topic. If you want to start a war, go on Facebook, talk to your friends and family and neighbors, and let them know that you or your family do not want to vaccinate and put toxic, cancer-causing chemicals and agents like formaldehyde, mercury, lead, arsenic, and all, I could go on and on and on, into a child's veins, and you will be called a baby killer, you will be called unscientific, you will be called a quack, a farce, you'll be ostracized just by saying that you don't want to put poisons into a kid's veins. That's...
The schools are making kids do this, so kind of like your dogs have to have shots before they go to a groomer.
Sort of.
So
Right.
in the medical field to make the people who work in them take these vaccinations.
Correct.
So if you want
Correct.
to keep your job, you better take it. If you want your kid to be in public school, you better take it.
Land of the free, home of the brave, brother.
Can we just not ingest some saline solution in our veins when we get done taking these vaccinations and piss it out?
No, that's not the way it works. No. It goes right in your blood. Yeah, that's a great idea, though. Worth a shot. Ha! See what I did there? Worth a shot. Get it? No. Where did that saying ever come from? It's worth a shot. Think about it. Wow. Isn't that crazy? No, but he makes a good point. A lot of people are being forced, land of the free, home of the brave, into getting a toxic, cancer-causing injection into their arteries in order to keep their job. But there's a lot of people standing up. A lot of nurses out there nowadays. Whole groups on Facebook. Man, you go out there. Nurses against mandatory vaccinations. Oh my goodness, look at what they're doing. Because they're all standing up and they're going, no, this is stupid. We've seen, you know what? I've got patients in this practice. I've had nurses come here, bring me their kids, and say, this one was fine, we went and got vaccinated, this one came out from the appointment sick, different, never been the same since. It's been years. Nurses who do this, they're not being quiet. Why should I? Why should I? They are moms and dads who have been suckered into, you don't believe me? I held them up last week. I've got 2 or 3 different volumes, multi-DVD sets of vaccination stories, histories, documentaries done very professionally. Very professionally. One's called, just look them up, Facebook. Truth About Vaccines, look up Vaccines Revealed. Massive, enormous amounts of information. I've got the transcripts, I've got the PDFs, I've got the DVDs, I've got the CDs of all of them. I own them. I have them here for people like you. If you ever need to know more information, come and ask me. But right here, you want a great way that you can live sick and die young, and you can make your kids live sick and die young, get your vaccinations. Because when they give you a free flu shot at Walgreens, think about one thing in life besides salvation that was ever free that ever benefited you. Think about it. Okay. Number 8, when you get diagnosed with cancer, because let's just face it, here in America, the land of the free, see you guys, land of the free, home of the brave, let's just face it, here in America, 1 in 2 people are projected to have cancer by the year 2030. We talked about this 2 weeks ago. When was that? 2 weeks ago we had the class, the cancer class that we chatted about. It was called How to Cancer-Proof Your Life. And we had about 50 people, 40 or 50 people here that week, and we talked about cancer. Really, what's the truth? What is up with cancer? Oh, by the way, I have the vaccines, the GMOs, the cancer, truth about cancer. I have all of these documentaries, great information. I study with some of these doctors. That's what I do on weekends. I'm a nerd. I love it. That's what I did this weekend. So what we're talking about is cancer. 2 weeks ago, I had a whole class on cancer. People just don't know. In America, your chances, your options are, if you get cancer, we're going to cut you, surgery, we're going to poison you, chemotherapy, or we're going to burn you, radiation. Those are your options in America. Are there any other options that Blue Cross Blue Shield, Aetna, Cigna, and Humana are going to pay for cancer? Any. I'll listen. There's nurses in this room right now. I'll listen. Huh?
They have one that's a new immunotherapy treatment.
And what is it?
It's a chemical though, but it causes the body to respond
Correct.
positively instead of.
Oh, is that right?
That's what they say.
A chemical. I know that's what they say. But you know what, too? The newest stuff that I've seen is where they say a truly groundbreaking approach for cancer. What's the groundbreaking approach? We're going to do all three of these at one time. Groundbreaking. Groundbreaking. We won't just cut you or poison you or burn you. We'll cut you, poison you, and burn you simultaneously. This is perfect.
Immunotherapy?
Huh?
No, not with immunotherapy.
Well, immunotherapy, think about it. Immunotherapy. I do immunotherapy every day, all day in my practice. What do they call an immunotherapy? Drugs. You do what?
To be,
Drugs to rebuild. What drug rebuilds the immune system?
well, that's
Right.
what they say.
I know that's what they say. But they told you fluoride was good for your teeth. I know that's what they told you. I know that, but I'm just challenging you. So most of the people here already get it. You know, most of the people here. There's some of you out there who are like, man, I don't know this kid. Who is this kid? I don't know. Is this guy right? If they were wrong about, well, if they didn't tell us the truth about 9/11, and that was 10 years ago, you know, or wait, 2001. 17 years ago. What happened when they fluoridated the water back in 53? What happened when they introduced artificial sweeteners in the early 80s? What happened when the meds started advertising on TV after years of being not able to? What happened? Huh? Yeah, that's a good one, Mark. Thank you. Thank you. Why, if the vaccines are so safe, why can't you sue the manufacturer? They're the only industry, only company, only type of industry and company in the United States that you can't sue. Why? Because they're giving it to you for free. Right? I've got a whole class on vaccines. I've got like 7 or 8 silver, I call them silver bullets. The vaccine silver bullets. How to end a vaccine debate right now. Somebody coming at you saying you're a baby killer, guess what? I've got 7 or 8 little things, and they're simple things. It's not an argument. It's not your opinion, my opinion. I don't give a rip. It's an easy little way to say, well, yeah, why? Wait a minute. If vaccines are so safe, why can't you sue? If the tires on your Ford Explorer blow up, or if your seatbelt breaks, you've got legal recourse. Not so much with this. You can't do squat. It's already in their blood. So why? You know, why is that? You know, vaccination and inoculation, 2 different things. Immunizations, inoculation, vaccination, 3 different things. They're used interchangeably, though, see? They're used synonymously by the medical community. They're not the same thing. We won't go into that right now. That's a whole different story. But once you get vaccinated, you'll never get unvaccinated. You can't pee it out. It's in your blood. Guess what happens to it there? It goes to and stays in certain tissues. Certain chemicals and certain heavy metals will go and migrate into certain tissues. So if you go get your flu shot every year and you know that the flu shot has lead, mercury, and arsenic and formaldehyde in it, what are you leading up to? You think you might get Alzheimer's or Parkinson's? You think? When we know that Alzheimer's and Parkinson's is related to neurodegeneration in the brain, but they don't come out and tell you what starts the neurodegeneration. But we know that in a petri dish, if you have human neurons in a petri dish and you drop mercury, lead, arsenic, formaldehyde in there, guess what happens to the neurons? Beta amyloid tangles. What does that mean? Same stuff that you see in Parkinson's, Alzheimer's. Beta amyloid. You can't get rid of it. Once that neural tissue is destroyed, it does not uncurl. It does not unfurl. Guess what? Smoking gun? Definitely. Number 8, cut poison and burn. Let's just discuss this too. So what's your other options for cancer? In America, what are your other options? You know, you have to go to other countries to do other things. You know that, right? You know people who've gone to Tijuana to get treated for cancer because they won't allow some of the stuff. They won't allow, I said it, yes, Facebook, they won't allow some of the other alternative cancer treatment therapies that are in Europe, Australia, and in South America. So you go to Mexico? You're kidding me. We live in the most technologically advanced country in the world. And you can, medical tourism, how many of you know what that is? Medical tourism. Nobody? Medical tourism? It's a whole industry. It's a whole industry of people going to other countries, not for vacation, but their surgeries. It's a whole industry, medical tourism. It's called, look it up. It's crazy. It's nuts. It's ridiculous. So you have to go to other countries now to get your $150,000, $60,000 surgery for $3,000 in Tijuana, which is famous for medical care, among other things, right? It's ridiculous. So when you are told that surgery removes the tumor, did it really remove every cancer cell? Impossible. When you're told that chemotherapy, chemical therapy, gets rid of your cancer, chemicals cause cancer, doesn't it? Don't they? Wait a minute, this doesn't add up. Well, you're told that your radiation, that the burning, you're going to radiate it out. We're going to shoot you with ionizing radiation that destroys human DNA. The only problem is when you destroy DNA, what's another word for that? Cancer. That's why they put a lead blanket over you when you go to the dentist to shoot cavities, films of your cavities, right? So we already know that chemicals and radiation cause cancer. So what are we going to do? We're just going to shoot you with higher levels of it, heavier duty. Cancer.
And you know it's bad because they leave the room.
Good point. Yeah, if the radiation's safe, right? If you're getting the thing at the airport, you're getting the backscatter radiation machine. Why are they standing so far away? Well, it's safe. It's the same amount of radiation as your cell phone. No, it's not. Don't think I'm that stupid. Come on, seriously. Is that right? Well, why is it that TSA agents have the highest rate of cancer of any of the professions in the continental United States, up there with Chemlon guys and radiation technicians? Why is that? Can you answer that for me, Mr. TSA? Yeah, that's why I have TSA pre-check. Thanks. I'm going to go through the metal detector. Thank you. I don't believe you for a minute. Because whether you ask in LA or whether you ask in Boston, they're going to tell you the same thing. It's the same amount of radiation as your cell phone. Why would two separate, 3,000 miles apart TSA agents say the same thing to me? They've been taught that by the training videos. Crazy, huh? Same as your cell phone? I don't think so. My cell phone can't take pictures of your junk from 12 feet away. How's that work? Huh? I don't know. Cancer, think about it. 9.
Better app.
Huh?
You might want to get a better
I need a better app to take pictures of your junk. Okay, number 9. If you want to live sick and die young, right here. And you can tell I'm talking fast because we're combining a lot of stuff into this. Stay out of the sun. Well, yeah, but I thought the sun caused skin cancer. Really? Ask Africa and China. Think about it. Who's telling you it causes skin cancer? The weather guy on the news? Who's saying, take Uncle Johnny and smear some, sunscreen on him, make sure he doesn't get burned? What's the sunscreen got in it? Chemicals that cause what? Thank you. Boom. Everything that goes on your skin gets absorbed into your body, right? So the chemotherapy cream that you're putting on your skin gets absorbed into your body. The lip gloss and the stuff that we're wearing and painting our war paint that we're painting ourselves with, right? It all gets absorbed into your body. So stay out of the sun. It's vitamin D, folks. It's the UV light coming from vitamin D, hits your skin, causes a chain reaction that then clips that molecule into two, giving you vitamin D, which is your anti-cancer vitamin. Wait a minute. So if we don't get the sun and we smear toxic, cancer-causing chemicals in sunscreen on our skin, not only are we not getting the sun to make the vitamin D to go anti-cancer, we're also adding cancer too. Wait a minute. Who thought of this one? They're geniuses. They're perfect geniuses working for the dark side. So stay out of the sun. It cleaves the molecule so that you can actually anti-cancer, anti-depression, anti-anxiety, right? All of these things that vitamin D, if you don't make vitamin D, you can't reproduce. Wonder why everybody's having infertility problems? Wonder why everybody's got ED, right? Think about it. Vitamin D is a big deal. Vitamin D is responsible, get this straight, there's about 23,000 genes in the human genome. That means 23,000 genes that are responsible for who you are. Vitamin D is responsible for coding about 20 to 40% of those. So if you don't have vitamin D, you're half the man you used to be, literally. I just made that up. Thanks. So stay out of the sun. Number 10. And we're going to blow through these. Oh, geez, it's 7:20. Good grief. All right. We're just going to end it right here. How's that sound? Or how many of you want to know the rest of the How to Live Sick and Die Young? One of you? We're going to end it right here. Well, let me see. Okay, we're going to cut it all down. We're going to make it this. I have whole classes on this. This is one of those. Look beautiful. This is one of those that I teach whole classes on. This is a big deal because on top of this and this and this, oh, by the way, why would Bayer want to buy and partner up with Nestle? Now you see? Why would a pharmaceutical company want to hook up with a food company? They're the same thing. People asked me that back when the Bayer Nestle thing was going down. I said, it's very simple. Right here.
Nestle makes baby formula.
Baby formula and nursery water. Nestle makes baby water or baby formula. I didn't know that. I didn't know the baby formula thing. And nursery water. Go to Walgreens if you don't believe me and look, or Walmart or whatever. Go anywhere. Go to Costco and look at the nursery water, and it says has a picture of an infant on it, fresh out of the boat, fresh off the boat, out of the boat. A little picture. You can see the kid smiling. He's got a cute little face. It says good for strong teeth. Kid doesn't have teeth. They think you're that stupid. Seriously. You can trust those people or you can trust me. But I ain't stupid, and I'm not going to go that route. So if you want to go with the drugs and the surgery and the endoscopies, colonoscopies, be my guest. It's fine. Be my guest. But you're going down a road that they think you're that stupid, folks. They really do. I hate to tell you. So,
Monsanto purchased by Bayer.
Oh yeah, Monsanto. Oh, Bayer purchased Monsanto, right? So the Monsanto name's going to go bye-bye because everybody knows what Monsanto's up to, and then they're just going to replace it with Bayer. Monsanto's going to go away, but it's still going to be there. But the name's going to go away. Everybody knows what's up. That's what they have planned. That's the end game. That's the runaround. That's what's going to go down. Mark my words. Mark my words. That's what's going to happen. So you got all of this, same companies. Then you same companies. Boom, 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 boom. Let's just say this: same companies, right? Then same company, right? Same company. Because here and here are the same. Are you getting this? Same companies, right? Then here, who's making all of the backscatter radiation machines? And who's making all of the mammogram machines? Who's making all this crap? The imaging machines and companies, which are also tied in with same companies, right? And the chemical companies. Medications, right? But who's making all the money off the radiation? Like when Mandalay Bay went down, there was a massive influx of people buying the backscatter radiation machines for festivals, for amusement parks, for the Mandalay Bay CEO was on the board of the company who makes the machines. Or something along. It's messed up, it's convoluted, but something along those lines. You trace the money, you'll figure it out. It's crazy. It's crazy. So they're going to make a push to make those machines mandatory for every event you go to. And your junk will be getting radiated 5 times a day. Mark my words. So then here, stay out of the sun, so who's making, look at this. Look at the circles, they're all the same companies. And then here, what do we got? Same companies. What do I mean by look beautiful? Cosmetics. Mascara, eyeliner, blush, lipstick. If you look at the list of crap in your products that you've paid your hard-earned money for, if you look at the Avon and the Mary Kay, if you look at the Cosmopolitan and the cracked out, whatever it is, what are the other, Maybelline and the what is the crap?
Girl,
Maybelline, CoverGirl, Revlon. Look at all this stuff.
L'Oreal,
L'Oreal, yes. Everything that Sonia wears, yes.
Used to wear.
Used to wear, yes. But if you look at all these, look at all the circles, you guys. Look at this. The only one that isn't in here, and this is just the top 10 of the 15 or 16 I had ready for y'all. But right here, remove necessary organs. But when we do remove your necessary organs, we're going to put you on anesthetics and painkillers and muscle relaxers and drugs and anti-inflammatories that are all made by who? Same companies! Yay! And then we're going to pass a law to make you buy a product that offers you services from these companies. And everybody thinks you gotta have it. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. I did a class, watch it on Facebook. Watch on Facebook. I did a class the first week, I think, of January called The Business of Being Sick. If you want to know what's up with insurance and healthcare and premiums and deductibles and copays and all this crap, watch that. Just go ahead and watch it. Share it, like it, post it, send it, thumbs up. So all of this is the same companies. That's how simple it is. You watch a commercial on TV, you're watching these companies. You go buy something at the convenience store, these companies. You go buy something at the fast food place, these companies. So what can you do? Buy from your farmers. Shop around. Support your local community. You know, get off the government handouts. Fight for your right to be an American that doesn't have to take a bunch of toxic crap in your bloodstream. Right? Stand up and have a voice, and don't be afraid that they're going to call you a baby killer when you have the proof, but they have opinions from CNN. They've got some talking head Dr. Oz that doesn't vaccinate his kids. Shut up. Just get out of my face. Christians got to speak up a little bit too and not be so offended and namby-pamby. Just little dilettantes walking around on eggshells saying, well, I don't want to offend anybody. Offend people! It's offensive to me that they find me offensive. Get out there and do something about it. Your kids are going to be killed. Your grandkids are going to be maimed. Grow a pair. Stop it. Stop eating the crap. Grow up. Look at this and look at that and go, you can't argue with that. I don't like it either. I hate it, as a matter of fact. I hate it so much I've made it my career. I hate it. You think this is easy, standing up here talking to people about stuff that they think you're nuts, they think you're crazy? I don't care. They're going to think I'm crazy anyway. I drive a minivan and I'm a Christian and I'm a chiropractor. Take that. Yeah! Yeah, and I pump fists. They're going to think I'm nuts anyway, so they might as well think you're nuts for good stuff. Right? You've got to take a stand for something. You're either going to stand up for Maybelline or you're going to stand up for something bigger, right? You got to advertise something. You're a walking advertisement every day. What are you advertising? We're advertising health here, okay? So right here, all of this stuff, if you read the labels and you look at the stuff and you see, you just do a search. Go to Environmental Working Group, ewg.org, and look up your ingredients. Look up the stuff that you're putting on your body. I have a whole class just on that one too. I have a whole class just on medications. I have a whole class just on food. I have a whole class just on water. I have a whole class just on Diet Coke. I could talk about Diet Coke all day long. I'll teach you the whole history of it. Vaccinations, I have a whole class on cancer. And this right here, the cosmetics thing, we're going to talk a lot about that in the women's class, the beauty, birth, and biopsies. We're going to talk a lot about that. So if you just look at the ingredients and you look at Environmental Working Group, they'll kind of rate it green, yellow, or red as far as whether it's good or not. Just look at some of the stuff that you're putting on your skin. That also goes for your deodorant. That also goes for your toothpaste, which we already talked about here. That also goes for your mouthwash. That also goes for all your lotion. All of your stuff made by Unilever. All of your stuff made by Procter & Gamble. I know a long time ago I read some books when I was in college that said Christians back in the 60s said Procter & Gamble was satanic. And I was like, wow, you're out of your mind. Wow, really? Right, right. And now I'm looking, a few years ago when I woke up to all this stuff, yeah, it makes sense. They weren't nuts. So back then, so people are going to think you're nuts regardless, whether you're living off your retirement or whether you're living off your 401k or whether you quit your job and go do something you dream about or whether you have another kid or whatever. They're going to think you're nuts regardless. But when you look at this, you can't argue with this, people. Your friends, your families, your Romans, your countrymen, your dogs and cats. Everybody is victim to this. You can't eliminate it. You can avoid a lot of it, but you can't eliminate it. You just have to be smarter. They think you're down here, but you have to be wise as a serpent. You have to be up here, right? That's what I'm trying to inspire you and lift you up to help you to do. Because they're wanting you dumbed down, not reproducing, taking a bunch of meds, being sick, living off the government, and getting handouts, and going into the nursing home when you're 55. That's what they want. They want you dead slowly. They don't want you dead quickly. Then they got to pay for, bullets and tanks and all this other crap. How do you soft kill them? How do you do it slowly over time so they get dependent on some of the stuff that we make? That's what the end game is. If you don't believe it, I'm not the one that needs to wake up. If you don't believe this, you ain't going to believe anything we're doing here. Yes, ma'am.
Talk about dogs and cats.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of these companies also have the dewormers, vaccinations,
Oh, yeah.
things that are for cattle,
Oh, yeah.
chickens,
Oh, yeah.
pigs,
Right.
and the chemicals that they spray on vegetables,
Uh-huh.
fruits, vegetables, things like
Oh,
all
yeah.
those same companies.
Oh, yeah.
Bear
Oh, yeah.
tags for cattle.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Good point. Yeah, because I didn't even mention right here, Sonia, thank you. I didn't even mention the pesticides. I mentioned the genetically modified organisms, but I didn't mention the Monsanto and the Roundup and the pesticides. I didn't mention with the animals. A lot of vets are coming out now and saying the vaccines are killing all the dogs. And the food, what the vaccines aren't killing, the food is. Because the food's crap for the dogs as much as it is for the people. Pottinger's cats. How many of you ever heard me talk about Pottinger's cats? We are in the third, some of us, fourth generation of Pottinger's cats. And if you don't know what that is, we will talk about that. We'll talk about that next time. Pottinger's cats. I've got a little handout, and it talks about what Pottinger's cats are. Basically, we are in the generation of deterioration where our children are not projected to outlive us. So part of what Sonia's talking about, the ear tags, the pesticides, what was the other? Dewormers, all vaccinations, the heartworm medications, all the stuff, same companies. So they're going for your animals too. And that's another thing. And Sonia does grass-fed beef, she does eggs, Sonia's like patient number 0 right here. She was the first one that I infected. No, but she does her own grass-fed stuff. She used to do bees. She doesn't do anymore. She does kombucha, which I need a few bottles, and eggs and beef and stuff like that. So this is what I'm talking about right here. Know people like this. Know people that you say, hey, you've got chickens, I've got beef. Here, let's trade. Or get to know your local farmers. Get off of the dependence upon the vets and the drug companies and the Walmarts and the convenience and I just like the way it smells. That's what we're going to talk about in 2 weeks. I just like the way it tastes. I just like the way it feels. Well, you can do that, but you can do it this way too, where it might be a little bit more work at the very beginning, but I guarantee you're going to live longer. I guarantee you're going to be in less pain. So does that make sense? I want to share a little story too. I feel like this is just too important. I know I went way over, but you know what? Nobody left yet, so I'm just going to keep going. Little story about, you need me? Or is that the handouts? Oh, okay. Yeah, go ahead and hand those out. And then I'll take envelopes are already up here. Thank you. I'll tell you a little story. I went to Gatlinburg for the weekend. It was crazy because I learned a lot. I was with one of the top doctors out there in nutrition and standard process. Another 100 doctors in the room with us. Then went to, I felt led to go to the Alcatraz East Museum, the crime museum. And I just want to bring this out because God showed me, it was a God thing. And I just had to share this. I've been wondering the whole time I've been up here talking to you folks, should I share this, should I not? And it finally hit me that this was not shared with me just for me to enjoy it. I have to, given the fact that we just covered all of this, and that there's that little bit of a call to action to all of you, you need to know this. We went to the Alcatraz East Crime Museum out in Gatlinburg. It's a brand new museum that just started about a year ago. It was not there the last time I was there. Of course, I'm fascinated, as a lot of us are, with crime shows. I don't watch a whole lot of TV, but I do watch, when I do watch Netflix or something like that, I'll watch Forensic Files, or when I go stay in a hotel, I just get fascinated. I'll watch Forensic Files. Usually when I walk in the hotel, it's already on the TV somehow. It's like they knew. Or my most recent one is like Joe Kenda, the homicide hunter. I know.
He's so smart.
He is, so I want to meet him. He's my new hero. But how these guys and Criminal Minds and stuff like this, yeah, I'm getting really excited. Some of his quotes are just classic. Yeah. So I just love these shows because it shows me not only, I hate the crime, and I can't even watch the ones where they do stuff to kids. I can't even watch that. But I hate the crime aspect of it, but what I love is the justice. What I love is the fact that the blood cries out from the soil and that the DNA in the cells, even the oil of the fingerprints, God designed it so that we could figure out this stuff. And the advances in science, as far as that goes, are brilliant. Advances in science, as far as this goes, are crap. But when I go and I see these shows and I see Criminal Minds, profiling and how to find out where this guy's next step is going to be, it fascinates me. So I was, through a long chain of events I won't bore you with, I know specifically that I was led to go to this museum. I knew there was something there that I had to learn. This is it. And it all goes so dovetailing seamlessly with this. I feel like you all need to know this. There was an exhibit there on not just ancient crime and crime in the Old West and crime in pirates. There was a big exhibit on like crime. It's a museum on crime. Well, there was a big exhibit on the forensic science side of things, which just was great, but I already knew everything because I'd watched all these shows. So I thought, well, I got to go to the serial killer exhibit. Serial killer exhibit. And there was one placard there on serial killers, and it was interesting because the very last paragraph of it, I knew the second I read it, that was the exact thing that God had led me there to learn. The exact thing. Because it ties so intimately with this. I'll read it to you. We are fascinated by I'll read you the last two paragraphs. This first paragraph leads up to the second one. We are fascinated by the dark side and what makes a particular person act on impulses while most do not. Curious to the motives that turn an ordinary person into a killer. While claims of wetting the bed or cruelty to animals in childhood are set out as indicators, the truth that there's no solid matrix for predicting what will influence human behavior, the truth is that there is no solid matrix for predicting human behavior. This does perhaps explain the insatiable interest the public holds for the topic, a deep-seated need to have the cause and effect explained. This is the paragraph I want you to get, because if you get this, you understand the whole point, the whole purpose. I want you to think about all the school shootings. I want you to think about everything you've learned about from John Wayne Gacy to Jeffrey Dahmer. Even the serial killers that were happening back in the 17 and 1800s. I want you to go from Jack the Ripper to BTK. Listen to this. While the stereotype is that all serial killers are white males, since most of the famous ones are, the percentage of white males among serial killers since 1900 hovers around about 50%. It is true that women are much less likely to be serial killers. However, for some reason, serial killers are a particularly American creation. Think about that. What other nationality serial killer have you ever heard of? Are you getting this? Did that drop your jaw like it dropped mine? With nearly 3,000 cases in the last 100 years. That's 30 cases a year. 30 serial killers a year. Compared to less than 200 in the United Kingdom, which is second highest. So we went from 3,000 in the United States to 200 in the UK, which is our closest neighbor, ally, speaks the same language, and is the very country that we descended from. 3,000, the next highest is 200, okay? 1987 is considered the deadliest known year for serial killers in the United States with 361 confirmed victims. Why would 1987 be the year that serial killers got big? Think about it. Why wasn't it 51, 52 when TV got big? Why wasn't it 63 when Kennedy got his head blown off? Why wasn't it 70s when we came home from Vietnam and everybody was humping trees? Why wasn't it why wasn't it the 50s, 60s, 70s? There's so much other stuff that happened. What was in 1987? So the big things there: white males, particularly American creation, 3,000 serial killers since 1900 compared to 200 in the closest next rival category, Britain, UK. And 1987 was the main year, 361 cases, 361 confirmed victims in the United States in 1 year by serial killers in 1987. What does all that have to do with any of this? What do you think happened in 1987? You want to know? Right around that same time? If you look at the epidemiological studies and you look at the history and you see what, and I already knew what was going on. This is why I had to figure this out. There's a few things going on. You want to know what they are? 1987?
Hairspray.
Perms and hairspray?
Come on, take it easy on us hairdressers.
That's part of it.
Come on, we got to live in perms. Bleach, perms, and hairspray. I gotta buy my organic food. Don't cut into my business. Come on.
1987, round about this time, the big things that were going on. If you look at a history of cases of autism and genetic anomalies, and you look at neurodegenerative disorders in children, it goes right in line with the introduction of GMOs. It goes right in line with the increase in vaccination schedule. It goes right in line with the increase in drugs. And guess what was introduced to the U.S. food population in 1980s? So, could it be all of these things? Sure. Would I love to go back and study Jeffrey Dahmer and John Wayne Gacy and Ted Bundy and see how many drugs they were on, how many vaccines they were on, how many GMOs they ate, and if they were drinking Diet Coke every day? You bet your bottom dollar. Did anybody ever put this together? No. Why would they? But a particularly American creation. That says a lot, doesn't it? I was blown away by that. And I know that I was led specifically to that museum. And the minute I read that paragraph, I knew why. So I had to share that all with you. Because this right here blew my mind. 1987, artificial sweeteners. Look at when Diet Coke came out. Look when aspartame hit the store shelves. Look when NutraSweet was created. Drugs. We are now one of 2 countries in the world that can advertise drugs on television. Vaccinations, it's against the law to not take them. And the vaccine schedule went up from 6 when I was a kid to 49 doses of 16 different vaccines by the time you're 12. And people say there's no correlation. Shut up. Shut up. Just shut up. You don't know anything about what we're talking about. And then here, GMOs, those rolled out on the scene in the late 80s, early 90s. Look at Roundup. Look at Monsanto. But that was probably Monsanto. They probably rolled out before at the late 80s. So does this spell it all out? Pottinger's cats. Pottinger's cats. That's all I got to say. So I felt like I needed to share that with you. Here, we're going to give this away. Any questions before I do the giveaway? Did that blow anybody's mind? That blew my mind. And I'm not here to brag and say, oh, look what I found out. I'm here to say, look what God showed me.
See if you can find per capita.
Per capita. Oh, how many serial killers, how many victims each serial killer had? Or what?
Like per capita in the United States, if it's 3,000. Like Britain was what, 300?
Oh, per capita, 200. 15 times higher.
But
Yeah.
how many people per capita are in Britain versus?
Oh, yeah.
States?
Yeah,
And
well,
I wonder which states that they.
oh, yeah.
came out of.
I'd love to look and see. I would. I thought about that before sharing this. And I thought I'd also love to know how many victims each serial killer had. Because there's some in America that had 200 victims. There's some that were suspected to have 200 victims. There's some that had 71, 80, 90 something, But then in Britain or in UK, serial killer could be like 2 or 3 people. Maybe. The definition's different. Who knows? But it is a particularly, even they mentioned it and said it, a particularly American, particularly means unique. American means a certain geographical location. Creation means it was planned. There's a creator. A particularly American creation. Right. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
I'd be interested in states and stuff.
I would love to know too. And I'd love to know like the average number of victims and stuff like that. But somebody had a,
I was
yeah.
going to say, I have heard in somewhere down in my life that a lot of the times these people that read this stuff are like, they eat a lot of junk food.
Sure.
Or junk food junkies,
Absolutely.
yeah. But they eat a lot,
Absolutely.
a lot of that stuff, you know, that's
Sure.
their main thing, candy bars and
Right.
stuff like that.
Absolutely. Well, they're not eating filet mignon and, roasted Brussels sprouts. No. But if you look at all the school shootings, they're all on psychiatric medications. Every one of them. There hasn't been a case yet of a school shooting in America, to my knowledge, that was not on a psychotropic, psychiatric, antidepressant,
One of the wordings probably was that.
Yeah.
On the bottom.
Oh no, it says it right on the commercials. It says it right on the on the Abilify commercials. It says suicidal ideation. It's nuts. So we're saying, well, what's the cause? Let's take away the guns. No, that's not it. What's the cause? Let's take away the guns. That's not the problem. The cause is, how can you fix something unless you know the cause? You can't. And the cause is right here. Pottinger's cats. And if you do that for a generation after generation after generation, what's going to happen? Well, we're seeing it right now. Say what, man?
They don't want you to fix it. It's like what the news media does. We're looking at guns.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. It has nothing to do with guns. How do I know? Because there were more guns per capita back in the Civil War and in the Revolutionary War. Half of the America is so liberal that they won't carry a gun because they're afraid of it going off because they don't know that guns don't just go off. They're afraid of guns. But if somebody comes to rob them, they'll call somebody with a gun to come save them. Isn't that stupid? A gun's a tool. It's a hammer. Did you ever kill yourself with a hammer? No. But could you kill somebody else with it? Yeah, you could. But you could also build a house with it. But that gun right there is your insurance policy, that nobody's going to mess with you. And if you don't want that insurance policy, that's fine. Go ask Chicago. How's Chicago doing with that gun-free zone? Murder capital of the country?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's stupid. We're saying that the guns are the cause. It's not the cause. Any other questions, comments, concerns? Anybody?
When you're talking about makeup, my aunt has a daughter that lives in Spain, and she has her send her makeup from there because they don't use
Right.
the chemicals. They don't allow the chemicals in the makeup. that
Yes.
we allow
Perfect.
here.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree. I believe it. Anything else? Well, no, that is true. And if you sell stuff on Amazon, anything chemical has to come from the United States. Anything that goes in or on the body has to come from the United States. Anything manufactured can come from overseas, FYI. Anybody else? Anything else? We're going to do a giveaway. We're going to sign off on Facebook. Facebook, thank you. Hey, I want to tell everybody, like this, share it, send it, fax it, rename it, file it, save it, copy it, whatever you got to do. But this information has got to get out there, you guys. There's so many people out there that are suffering from crap that they don't need to suffer from because they just don't know this stuff. So feel free to send this and share it. Love you. Take care. And give us a call if you need anything. Thank you very much. Questions, comments, concerns, anybody? And we didn't even really go into the, okay, well.
Trying to keep up in all this chaos. I need you now. When my life is in a state of flux, I will lean on the constant love of Jesus. Wait